Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Music Man Podcast. I'm your host, Joe.
And I am Kenny. Thanks for
Kenny.
being here.
Yeah,
Thanks
you.
for tuning in again.
Mm-hmm. We'll do a quick sum up of ourselves. How you doing the last couple weeks?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. There's a lot of information out on the social medias and going on in the world. I'm doing my best to not get sucked up into the whirlpool or the twister that is the social media machine. Doing my best to stay informed, but I'm also making sure that I do not destroy my mental health any more than I have already done.
I like that. No destroying your mental health, please. We need you around.
I as for you. So
no, that's good. You've been doing some shows too.
Well, yeah, I did there's two wonderful musicians that I've worked with. Gentleman by the name of Patrick Spiroff and Michael Marsden, and we did what is called a writer's round. It's kind of like a singer-songwriter thing in a round. And Patrick Spiroff, he finds these off the beaten path places and these oddball spots and just venues that are happy to let us go ahead and sing our originals. And we do like a 3-person rotation. Each person does a couple songs, tells a story about how we got to the songs and how we wrote them, the messages and meanings behind them, blah, 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 blah. And 3 hours later, we have had a blast, and it was fun. This last one was fun. And hopefully there's some more shows coming up. I know my band project is we actually picked up a new bass player, and he's basically warming up with us, and we're gonna try and play. So
that's awesome.
That
showcase that you do, it reminds me of Bluebird Cafe in Nashville. That's usually how they do it too, like the writers rounds, and then they'll have like Grammy nominated or like certain big hit songwriters come in, and then they talk about like the hit song they wrote or whatever. So that's really cool that they do that.
Yeah, I think that was the model that Patrick used for this iteration, this version that we're doing. Is very much like the Nashville machine.
Yeah. So. No, good for them. That's awesome.
Yeah. How are you?
Well, we ready to get started?
No. Well, what about you? How have you been? We're not glossing over you, buddy.
Nothing. I'm on the downward spiral of emotions. No, I'm good. I'm good. Doing lots of different music projects, one with you and multiple other people, and it just gets overwhelming sometimes. You bite off more than you can chew with certain ones, and it's like, oh Jesus, I've got to get myself figured out here. But it's all good, and I've hit a plateau with the last few weeks. With I was doing really good. I was practicing a lot, and I still am with drums. And then I seem to have hit a plateau where it's like, I feel like everything I'm playing is garbage. And it's like, I know it's not. It's just like, I'm at that plateau of like, I need to hit that next step up to being like, I'm actually doing well and functioning on the instrument. So
sure. You get to that point where your skill set has reached that, like you say, the plateau, but you've honed your skill so well that it seems too easy.
Yes.
And you're like, well, this is kind of like, I'm just doing the same damn thing. Well, no, you're doing the same damn thing really well now.
Yeah. But it just feels stale and boring because it's not as flashy or cool as you remembered it was,
Yeah.
So anyway, that's how I'm doing. I'm doing good. I'm just in my own head.
All right. Well, how's your Doula Graves project going on?
I'm starting to write some more tunes. I'm trying to every little bit. I spend a couple minutes every day trying to write something. Some new tunes but nothing. I need to do some video for some of the current songs out so that I can create some more. I hate this, but content.
Sure. Yeah.
You know.
Kind of the nature of the beast at the moment.
Yes.
Okay.
It is the nature of the beast. But are we ready?
Yeah, what is on the menu for today's smorgasbord?
Sure. We're going to touch on AI, but it's not going to be as much, it's not going to be as heavy into, why it's so bad or anything. It's going to be more factual based on, what's currently happening and, not necessarily, how we can protect ourselves, but maybe a little bit of that. I'm going to try to stay really in the middle of this, where it's the pros and cons of things, but trying to see both sides of the spectrum so we can understand it. That does not mean that I am pro AI or anti AI. It just means I'm trying to stay Switzerland to give as best of a podcast episode as we can give.
Okay.
If that's fair.
I am on board.
And you can criticize and rip it apart, though, because then we have... Or you can be like, yeah, AI, either way. Because at least we'll have one person who's just Switzerland, and the other one can go either way.
Well, I have 5 gallons of my opinion ready to just throw on this fire. So I'm ready.
Good. I'm glad you're ready. All right. Well, we're going to get started. So you and I kind of were talking about AI the past couple of months and stuff. And one of the biggest things I think that I found out about it, there's a couple of things we'll talk about. You're going to have something too. But the first thing I want to say is there's a really, really good, she's a woman attorney that posts on YouTube. And she had drawn my attention to this, and it was about copyright. And basically, if you use AI in any realm of your work, you can't copyright it.
That makes sense.
So Keisha, is that how you say her name? I think
it's Kesha.
Kesha. So Kesha used an album artwork, and I'm not criticizing her. I'm meaning it nothing wrong with using it. Just be honest about it.
Yeah.
So she used AI to create some art, her art work for her album.
Okay.
Well, she doesn't own that. The AI is not hers because she can't copyright that because it's AI. And that's going hand in hand with people in music creating music with AI. So any semblance of it, you cannot copyright, according to this attorney who she's really good. I trust her. I mean, she's a music attorney. But she was saying that you cannot copyright anything pertaining to AI with an art, with whether it's visual, music, any of that stuff. And I think a lot of artists need to know that.
Is that because the image or audio was generated via a proprietary software owned by the conglomerate?
From what I understand, yes. They own the copyright, from what I understand, because it's their technology they're using, which also becomes kind of slippery because it's like Photoshop and Illustrator. Is that technically considered not copyright?
I would imagine there's copyright flexibility because of the subscription that you paid, if you're a subscriber, or if you've paid a full all-out fee. You are thereby then legally given rights to produce. I think they've figured that out already. But what's interesting that you're saying is that, if Kesha goes out and creates an image for her album and uses that and sells it, well, she is selling material illegally because she didn't get the copyright or the approval from the generative company to use it. Would that not be the same for a generative software using my copyrighted material to create this generated version?
That's a great question. And I am not an attorney, so I will not answer that.
Okay.
One of these days we will ask her to be on the show so we can ask all these deep questions where it's like, my dumb ass doesn't know enough, and I'm not going to pretend like I know enough.
That would be wonderful, because I know for a fact. So if you're saying that Kesha uses Bloopy software to create an AI-generated image, well, Bloopy owns this image, not Kesha. The simple logic that is used by attorneys and in law is that, well, then vice versa, if I create an image and AI trains off of it and then regurgitates and uses my image, they don't own their regurgitated image.
I would hope
that's what I argue. And the reason I bring that up, because here's a quart of my opinion that I'm going to pour on this fire.
Do it.
Is I think it's bullshit for them to say Kesha doesn't own that image, that she can't copyright that image, because it is in direct opposition to what AI software and AI companies are doing with all of our material. Because I follow a really talented abstract artist on Instagram called JJ Ellis. And he has openly shared and pointed out and called out there is an online company that has clearly stolen his art images, repurposed them using AI, and is now selling art prints on their site of JJ Ellis's remanufactured work. And it's so clear as day. Why? Well, because he holds up an image of his real painting and their print that they're selling, and it is ridiculously similar. So how, I'm very curious, and if someone out there knows the logic or the way to explain it, I want to know why it's okay for a generative AI software to say they own the material when I created the material and they are sampling my material. Like, would I not be sampling the product? It doesn't make any friggin' sense.
So, and I'm only playing contrarian because I told you I was going to do that today.
Yes,
I'm not disagreeing with you, so don't get mad at me.
No.
Someone could say though, well, you're the one posting your music to a SoundCloud, which we all know take your music off of SoundCloud because they're using that AI to but you don't have to post it to that, and you don't have to post it to Spotify, and you don't have to post it to all this stuff. So I'm being contrarian.
Sure.
Wink, wink.
Sure.
So that could be an argument, though, that somebody says that's like, oh, well, you don't have to post to that. You could just do your music the way, this and that, which is a valid point, but it's kind of unfair at the same time, because how is an artist supposed to sell art or sell their music or distribute their music
in today's day and age? Yeah.
I'm going to really quickly do a U-turn here because I want to touch on this really quickly with the two of us. I've been recently really diving into my crypto podcast about Bitcoin. And the reason I'm bringing this up is it can be the greatest system. It could be the greatest thing in the world. But without moral and ethics behind it, nothing will ever be pure and honest without a moral and ethical background behind it. And I've said that on the crypto podcast. I'm going to say it now. Like, we can all sit here and punch each other in the face about, the greatest things about technology and this and that. Human beings create moral and ethics. AI doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
But those human beings that are creating the AI are not acting morally or ethically in most situations, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And I think that's like ultimately where every discussion in humanity and human nature comes in, is moral and ethical. Why is AI being trained to mimic art from artists? But like you said, their artists aren't allowed to sell it or copyright it because it's AI generated. Why is AI allowed to copy or do anything else? So again, goes back to moral and ethical standards and why we have to contribute in this society with the way digital distribution is now. Those companies are very much so aggressive and predatory. And anyway, I didn't mean to cut off, but I wanted to touch on that because I think it's an argument that so many people say, and it's always just comes back to, but that's not morally and ethically like good.
Sure.
Sorry. Okay, go ahead. Continue. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no. You, I think the very nature of capitalism, or maybe even human behavior, is to try something and do it until you can't.
Or it's a...
Well, sure. It's the ask for forgiveness. It's easier to ask for forgiveness than it is for permission.
Elon Musk.
What?
I said Elon Musk.
Oh, man.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's fitting. The idea that everyone is ignored, I shouldn't say everyone, I should say so many facets of at least the AI community, they're all ignoring the elephant in the room, that they're doing whatever it is they want to do because there's money to be made and there's no regulations on it. And the big stink that the Screen Actors Guild put up last year, or I think they may still be in negotiations for some facets of television and film, is they were in danger of just having their likenesses or their images and their words and their voices just replicated by AI, and they're basically out the door. Yeah. And writers were... Well, many writers have actually lost their jobs because studios are just using AI and then having just a couple human beings edit and correct scripts and stuff. So the big stink that the Screen Actors Guild put up was exactly that. Regulations are needed to prevent these powerful corporations from just running away with whatever they can. Like, it's like the big kid taking candy from the small kid. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? I've got your candy now. Too bad. That's essentially what it is. That's what Spotify has been doing with the record companies for how many years now? 10 years now?
Yeah, a while now, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's a valid point. I'm going to touch on the next thing with AI. This was an article that came across a couple weeks ago. It was when I first texted you about, hey, we should do this thing on AI.
Yeah.
I don't know if I told you about this article, but basically it's a former UK Deputy Prime Minister, Nick Clegg.
Okay.
He's a Meta executive, or former top Meta executive. Who says AI is doomed if artists want tech firms to ask for permission to train models on their work. So this is where I'm going to kind of stay Switzerland, as in I'm going to give kind of like a sum up of the article, and then I'm going to say the good from the Nick Clegg group of people, and then I'm going to tell you the bad from the artist perspective of that, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So internally, I will be raging while I'm telling you the good from the executive standpoint. But
okay,
I just wanted you to know that. So Nick Clegg says that requiring AI companies to get prior permission from artists to use their work and training data sets would be unworkable and could cripple the UK's AI industry. He's arguing that it's nearly impossible to identify and license every piece of content used to train AI models. Okay, well, I'm not going to get started yet.
sure.
The UK should allow an opt-out system where artists can request removal rather than a permission-first model. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, artists like Paul McCartney, Dua Lipa, and others are supporting an amendment that would require transparency and disclosure about what content was used to train AI systems. That amendment was voted down by Parliament, but debate continues between those who want to protect artistic rights and those who want to supercharge tech innovation. So before you even just let me finish with the rest of it. I know, trust me, I was right there with you. So why is this good according to Nick Clegg in tech industry? Don't shoot the messenger yet, buddy, okay? I
Tell
know
me
you're getting
why.
ready. Okay.
Why? How?
Innovation friendly. Requiring consent for every piece of data could slow or even halt AI progress in the UK. Global competitiveness. If the UK adds too many restrictions, companies will relocate elsewhere, possibly to countries with looser rules. Efficiency.
Jesus.
Training AI models at scale often means using billions of data points. Requiring permission for each would be logistically impossible. Compromise option, opt-out. Clegg supports a system where creators can request removal, which still offers some control without hampering development. Now, we're going to do why is this bad according to artists? And you can add to this list, okay?
Okay.
I mean, this is why I'm trying to be like, all right.
Completely understand.
Exploits creators. Artists' work is being used to train profitable AI systems without credit or compensation. Shifts burden. Instead of asking permission, companies assume they can use your work unless you find out and file a takedown. Transparency problems. Most creators don't even know their work is being used, and disclosure laws were just voted down. Tech industry bias. Critics argue Clegg is defending corporate interests like Meta's, not public ones, calling it a self-serving stance. So the bottom line, this is a clash between speed and ethics, like you and I have talked about with ethics and morals. Nick Clegg and the tech side say, let us build first. Artists can opt out later. Like you said, and Elon Musk said, ask for forgiveness after. Artists and rights advocates say you can't build on stolen work, respect consent first. So I'm going to leave it at that. I wanted to stir that little pot for you.
Oh, thanks.
But I knew in your head you were ready to scream and rage at some of that stuff as I was.
100%. 100%. The best thing that I have heard on the internet, and I'm paraphrasing this, but AI, corporations want to use AI to access a skill set they don't have, while shutting out those who have the skill set from wealth. And I paraphrase kind of how it was phrased, but it is literally they want our skills for free so that they can lock us out of the wealth that comes from our skill set.
Yeah.
And I beg to ask the question, and if there's someone there who can convince me, why do we need AI? Why is this so fucking important to have this done? Why are these tech people why are they so hell-bent on creating this smart technology, which has already been proven it is not smart. It just recognizes patterns. And that does not mean intuition or intuitive thinking or able to not just regurgitate what it's been told.
Yep.
Like, I don't understand why this AI shit has to be in everything. And I don't understand the arguments that it's good for society and that, well, if everybody just gives all of their data and they give all of their artwork and all of their information to this system, it'll learn, and this is all part of training AI so that it can help humanity as a whole. So you should contribute what you have, blah blah blah. No, the problem with that is that these companies are making millions and millions and millions of dollars off of our labor. And I remember generations ago, there was something called slavery that made millions and millions and millions of dollars for the powerful and in charge. And where did that get us? Well, we still have a powerful in charge ruling class. And this AI shit is just another trick up their sleeve to steal intellectual property and ruin shit. And you know what? I ask the Chinese all the time in my head, just in my mind. I'm like, what would the Chinese do in this situation? What would they do? Well, they'd say, well, steal the intellectual property. Well, who doesn't like that? American businesses don't like stealing of intellectual property. Oh, so you're just like China. Oh, I get it. Anyways, that's just my opinion.
Your opinion, I think, is very valid on probably 99% of the artists out there. I can't say for sure, but I would say 99% of artists would be on your side there. The fact that they even say, and I'm taking off my Switzerland hat now.
Okay.
I was raging just as much as you, but I wanted to at least give the concept of what they think is good.
Sure.
And I'm going to tell them, fuck right off with your requiring consent for every piece of data could slow or even halt AI progress in the UK. And I'm also going to say, fuck off for you trying to think that like where he supports a system where creators can request removal. It's not, I want to opt in. This is one big thing for you. It's that Elon Musk where you ask for forgiveness after. Yeah, fuck you. Like,
well, this assumption that all of our proprietary efforts are fair game unless you say no is bullshit.
That's a lot of bullshit.
And okay, you say, well, my platform is what spreads your images on the internet so that you can get customers to buy your work. So my platform is the only reason why you blah, 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 blah. Okay, so then let's all not use your platform and see how many advertising dollars you get on your platform.
That's ultimately, you and I have touched on this so much. It's not going to change, unfortunately, until majority of artists jump on board with all of us as a general whole of just being like, fuck it, fuck streaming, fuck all that shit. Let's just go back to the old way of doing stuff and distribution. And I get it. Like, it sucks, but it's not going to change until we all get on board and just say, this is fucked up and bullshit. Let's all take it off of all of this stuff.
Yeah, the majority has to accept the pain that's going to come from doing a collective action.
Right. And also, like, piggybacking back off of, like, this is the same argument, like I was saying before, about humanity in general. Every argument, morals and ethics, any company that has started, ultimately comes down to how much money can I generate? Money. Sure. And I'm sure there's mom and pop stuff that's out there that are in the music industry, especially, that are still struggling and don't make much money, but are doing it for the love of music. But there's a reason they're drowned out and don't have, any of that say. And it just sucks. You said it to me a couple days ago about like just art being a commodity. And like you've said it before. It's just like, I don't know the right terms because you've used it way more. Yeah. You've used the right terms about it, but
what the way I frame it is, once you've accrued your monetary wealth, what do you do with your money?
Right.
Well, without art, you'd have no advertisement, you'd have no entertainment,
Stale white walls.
You'd have nothing interesting or beautiful to live inside of, or sit on, or look at. Like, go ahead and build yourself a concrete bunker with nothing in it, and that's what you'd have without art, without creativity, without art and music,
without
and
expression,
design, and yeah, it's everybody wants what creative people make, yet nobody wants to fucking pay for it.
That's exactly.
And now we have corporations that are stealing it from us because they've rigged the system in with which the digital world is the new commerce department. It's where commerce and sales and everything happens a lot in this today, in today's day and age. And here we are trying to use the very digital commerce platforms that these people have provided to us, and they've trained us all into going as by default to these digital commerce avenues of say running a business, like the digital commerce avenues. That's what I'm going to say. They've trained us all into predominantly using that, and that's just how it is now. If you're not a creator and you're a consumer, you go to these digital marketplaces all the time.
Yeah.
These companies now know they have everyone trained and over a barrel. And if we don't want to cut off our own heads, we're probably going to let them steal our material.
Right.
And that is the moral and it is the unethical, morally reprehensible actions of a corporation that doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And that's what I have a problem with.
And it's hard because they trained fans to, and I'm not blaming fans on this. We're all fans of music.
Yeah.
But they've trained fans now to think like music is free. We just stream it on platforms. Back in the day,
well, sure.
Even when you and I were like 20 years ago, streaming wasn't a thing. If you wanted to listen to the band that you were listening to that you really, really liked, you had to buy a physical copy of an album.
Yeah, or you had to go onto the radio and listen long enough until you heard their song.
And that's only for major artists. That wasn't even for smaller artists.
Yeah.
So it's just like we've talked about this before too, where it's like we've kind of gotten spoiled from technology in a way. You said this, and I keep using stuff that you've sent me through social media stuff and everything.
Are you stealing my proprietary words?
I am stealing your proprietary words. But you had sent me one thing that said, and we talked about this the other day, where it was like, I think you know where I'm going with it. It's the one where now I'm drawing a blank on it because we got worked up over this thing. I brain farted. Okay, I lost it.
It'll come to you.
We talked about it though the other day because I was like, that was such a great, comment about music and art, about being, especially with like fans and stuff. But I don't remember now, so just forget about it. If it comes back, I'll say it.
I think one of the saving graces in regards to that, there appears to be a significant trend where people are realizing physical media is becoming more desirable than a subscription for convenience. And I have seen and heard numerous stories of people that are scooping up DVDs again and CDs again. And of course, vinyl has been, through the roof for probably the last 10 years. So in that instance, maybe spending more time with physical media or accepting physical media. Because like for, musicians like you and I, do we go through the effort of creating CDs or vinyl of the music we create? Is anybody going to want that? Is anybody going to buy that? Which ideally, it is so much better for the artist and the creative person if you buy something directly from them, especially if it's a physical piece of physical media, because there is no middleman whatsoever in regards to that situation.
Yeah.
And the artist themselves gets all the money, or profits, I should say, from you buying a physical CD from them. So is there a glimmer of hope that, people are leaning away from the digital world in that sense, and that, they're not going to go so much to an AI-generated platform to buy AI-generated bullshit? Maybe the movement that's going on now where people are buying CDs means people are going to want a real-world thing, and this AI-generated slop, to use, other people's, terms, this AI-generated slop it's not going to have any avenue to get to people, because people aren't going to these platforms to get fucking garbage.
Right.
So,
by the way, I remembered it. It was the internet is moving so quickly, but people are still stupid. And and I think that goes hand in hand with like streaming and all that stuff, with digital distribution, whether it be movies or music or whatever. But you're right. Physical, they're tangible. You hold on to it, and it may come back, it may not. But like, I know me and my partner buy a lot of vinyl because we love listening to vinyl. We have a listening room devoted to like listening to music when we want to and stuff like that in our house, because that's important to us. So I agree with you. But you had a topic, part of this topic too.
I do. What I thought was interesting is my music is distributed through a platform called Lander. And let me take off my glasses here so I can read this. And it talks about some of their policy changes. And they say that certain types of content is no longer eligible for monetization or distribution on user-generated content platforms such as YouTube, Content ID, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. Blah, 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 blah. Where I think this is an interesting point is it sounds like they're becoming maybe a little bit of an ally to the artist, because it goes on to talk about how their new requirements for UGC and fingerprinting platforms are as follows, I quote, "These changes only affect monetization on UGC and fingerprint platforms. Here's what you need to know. Monetization on these platforms will now be highly curated and therefore only available to Lander Distribution Pro and Studio subscribers. If you're on the free distribution plan, blah, 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 you'll need to upgrade it. It says content may now be ineligible for monetization on UGC and fingerprinting platforms if," this is the important part, "it may now be ineligible." So your content or the content may be ineligible for monetization if it is, one, fully AI generated. And also, it contains non-exclusively licensed elements, blah, 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 blah. But that line right there says to me that content may now be ineligible if it is fully AI generated. And I think to myself, well, why would they set that precedent? And it sounds to me as though they're getting wise to these fake AI generated scams that create fake AI music, put it out on these platforms, and sort of harvest money out of the hands of distributors. So if Lander's making money from the, the royalty splits, the royalty cuts that they get from their artists' material, and now you got fully AI generated scams. And, well, it sounds like Lander is putting an effort to start to weed out some of this fake shit. And personally, if I'm understanding this content right, I really, really like this. Finally, somebody's like, if it's AI generated, you don't get to use our money, our monetization technologies. Like, go pound salt. See you later.
Yeah.
But that's it. I know. That's not a big deal, right?
No, it is a big deal because it is a company putting up something to say, like, hey, if you're going to use that, you're not going to get monetized for it.
Right. I think that is a glimmer of hope, really. Like, somebody's starting to do something about the mess. Like, it's not going to completely get rid of all of the scams and the backdoor deals and the slick presentations and stuff, but if these distribution companies don't want to lose money to AI generated scams, they're going to have to do something. Like, they're going to have to help their own bottom end, and inadvertently it will help the bottom end for the artists that they are supporting, that they distribute for, and there will be less stuff clouding the airways, so to speak.
Yeah. I always have like a fairy tale thinking process of like, oh, it'd be hilarious to see them just relinquish all this AI music and shit pool into like Spotify and Apple, and just seeing people leave in mass droves because it just becomes such a cesspool of AI music that people are like, this is garbage. But then I come back to reality and I'm like, yeah, no, because so many people don't believe art or creativity or any of that should be rewarded with financial compensation.
Sure.
But it is nice to see some companies like that, like saying like, you don't get anything for that.
Agreed.
So I do think it's good that you brought that up and after the cesspool of shit that I had to bring up, because it's always not good to just stay in the trudgery of negativity with this stuff. So
after our doomsday, anger.
Seriously. God.
Factless opinions. Spew.
Just two angry white guys.
I know. We got enough of them in this world.
I know.
We don't need two more. No, I really appreciate. Again, like if I'm reading what Lander has put out, if I'm reading correctly, I like that, and I will be scanning the world for more instances where there's, there are constructive measures put in place to counteract all of this free range AI crap.
Yeah.
So,
cheers to that.
Cheers.
I think we should probably end it at that.
All right.
Well, I am thankful for you being on this with me, and I'm thankful for people who are listening to this.
Yeah, I'm thankful for you as well, and to our, I think, 3 listeners, my mother included. Is that what we're...
At least your mom does listen. I don't even think my mom does.
Oh, man. We got to send her a letter. Maybe she'll get that.
An angry one.
Yeah.
Well, until next time, you beautiful son of a bitch. I'll see you next time.
You as well.
And anybody want to leave a comment, whether it's a nice one or a nasty one, AI included, go ahead because you feed the algorithm.
Yeah, come on, bots.
All right. Well, we'll catch you guys later. You all have a good one.
Peace.